myself Sunil Ramakrishnan Nair, and this is basically 180 number formula part. And here basically in last two formula part basically we have discussed the total basically maximum disaster which will 100% going to happen in Earth planet. So in this basically one of the disaster was lava blast, and that is basically the place was a Vadodara city, that is basically the Pavagadh. This basically was happened 3000 year before, and in this basically the entire Vadodara city was created actually, not finished. 3000 years before basically the Vadodara city was created, and the mountain that is basically Pavagadh mountain was created. So that is basically the 3000 year before, and I don't think the and mostly basically the scientists and the Bollywood groups are basically telling that if now the blast lava blast will happen, that will happen I think 1500 years after. So this is 2023. So after 1500 years. So that are, I don't think in near basically the lava blast will happen. So all the conditions is going to 100% going to satisfy. That is basically 1521 and 120, and lots of other conditions are there. So that are 100% going to satisfy, because there are lots of there are few things basically which basically 100% will not happen, like the lava blast. This lava blast 100% will not happen because this is already happened 3000 years before. So this blast will never happen. That is basically lava blast in Pavagadh mountain. Lava means that basically everybody knows where Italy, basically Italy. In Italy this blast happens always. In Italy, in Europe, in USA, these are all basically the normal things in the European country, in American country, but in India basically this has never happened. Why? There might be some reason basically the in India basically this never happens. But there is one mountain, that is basically Pavagadh mountain. This was created when the lava blast was happened 3000 years before. So this is basically one of the place of India where the lava blast might happen 100%. But that will take time. That is basically 1500 years before. Sorry, 1500 years after. So near basically near around month or near around week, this will never happen. So this is basically about the lava blast basically you can say, and lava blast will never ever going to happen 100%. So here basically we are discussing about the disaster which basically is 100% going to happen. So that is basically only the prevent basically can save the human being basically life. So that is basically from lava blast, but that is basically 1500 years 1500 years before. Sorry, after basically. So 1500 years after if this blast is going to happen. So there is no need to create the entire Vadodara city again, sorry, at another city, because that is going to take 1500 years. 1500 years means 15 next generation is going to happen. 15 next generation is going to happen. Then only basically this lava blast is going to happen. So mostly basically the uh, if this is 15 generation which is going to happen, and if for example myself, my generation after 15 myself basically just now basically I'm on divorce, and assume that my marriage happened, and my marriage happened and my generation started just now, assume that, and then basically after 15 generation, that is my assume that my son one child and one girl happened. So child basically started his generation like this basically 15 generation, and girl started the generation like that basically 15 generation. So that will take lots of time. So basically 15 generation means you can just imagine 1500 years. So I don't think basically you need to prepare from just now, because that 100% will going to happen. but that will take time. So there is no need to create any issue. So 1521 and 120 condition 100% is going to happen. So there are lots of condition basically, which is 100% going to happen, but that will happen late. All the things basically will happen is going to happen late, but 100% going to happen. So here basically that was about the disaster, which is 100% going to happen. And here basically we have taken few example of the god family also. The god family basically you can say, the god family, to save their god family members, up to what level the expense basically do. uh, Normal person can do? No, basically normal people can't do. For example, if I want to save myself, for example my teeth has broken, so to save my teeth basically I can't save that teeth. Why? Because money is the issue, right? If the money, for example, if the person basically, for example assume that instead of me basically the god family members might be there, so they will 100% save their teeth. Why? Because their clone basically is already created. Human clone is already created. So from that basically they can easily able to track the problems of the teeth, and they can easily able to save their teeth basically. But normal person can't do. For example, myself, I can't save my teeth, few teeth. Why? Because the issue basically, the things basically which you are eating, which you are drinking water, that basically contain few poisons. So due to that, basically you can't save your teeth, and that is basically 100% going to break your teeth. Like this, basically there are lots of issue basically. So this issue basically God family will never face. Why? Because they have good money, they have good power, good strength. So basically they can easily able to create their hundreds of human clones, and they can secure their each and every blood cells. For example, there are 15 blood cells, main blood cells, which is inside their body and which they are always using. So they can create 15 blood cells, human cells, sorry, human clones. And like this basically they are securing their 15 blood cells. But this normal person can't do. Why? Because he don't have money, he don't have power, then basically how he can do? So that's basically the difference between god family and normal family. So you can just imagine the difference between the normal family and the god family. And god family by default are rich. Why? Because they have power, they have money, they have strength basically, they have government support, they have police support. So you can just imagine, uh, if anything happens to temple, or if anything happens to mosque, if anything happens to church, then basically the lots of basically the city gets fire. Why? Because god is basically the most sensitive element in India country. So that's why basically the if any god family members gets problem, then basically that's why basically it should not get into the violence. That's why basically the god family prepares their human clones of the 15 blood cells, and like this way they creates their 15 blood. They has created 15 blood cells equal to 15 human. Sorry, more than 15 human clones, and like this basically they are securing their life. So you can just imagine the critical level, and the that's why basically the USA, China basically, how basically they are earning the lots of money. They are earning in crores of rupees. How they are earning? How they are basically, the lots of people are telling that we will go to US, 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 US. So US basically that means it's the most secure and most healthy city basically. But why they basically are telling like this? That's the reason is basically it's a most healthy country basically in this world basically, and China basically is there. So these are those two countries are there. They are basically mostly into the human clone business. So this is basically now converted into business, and like this. The market is full of poisons, poison food. So you basically can't say that, for example, god family is going from this road and they eat an pani puri. But most of basically pani puri is most of basically, 80% in pani puri. Assume that a few pani puris people are basically serving the water in the poison of the pani puri. Just assume that basically they are having some poison inside the pani puri. Everybody don't give, but few people basically gives. So as if that in that poison place only he eaten the pani puri. Then he eaten the pani puri. So same way basically after certain days basically his some body parts is 100% going to break because poison means 100% the body parts is going to damage. It can be hand, it can be back, it can be head, it can be eye, it can be nose, it can be hand, it can be leg, it can be back part of the body. So anything basically can break. So for that, to prevent this, basically, the human clones are created. So when the pani puri was eaten by that God family person, that same day, basically, the um, human clone also basically eaten the pani puri. And here the main thing is basically the person basically which he has eaten the pani puri, he is not going to get oxygen that second. That sorry, that day only. He is going to get oxygen next day or net day to next day. So like this, in between, he has eaten that human clone has already eaten the panipuri, and that same day basically the America sends the oxygen to that particular person, and he gets the disease. And the medical, the USA is basically the best in the health part, so that USA health department has given the medicine to that particular person and done few R&Ds of the medicine, and then that person was okay, that human clone was okay, and he was feeling healthy. So that medicine, bulk medicine which were experimented a lot, lots of trouble basically has felt by that human clone. So whatever trouble which human clone has faced, that trouble basically by default the the God family that member is not going to face, right? Because he has eaten panipuri, poison panipuri. So like this, you can just imagine. Then basically after that same medicine was basically transferred to the Indian government department through plane basically. Why? Because he is a rich family person. He is a God family person. The special helicopter plane was sent to get give that medicine, and then basically the medicine was given to that particular person that day only, next day only. But he never got that, got this information that medicine was given in his body. Basically, how basically that is the magic basically in India, because lots of things are secrets here. Basically, we have already discussed lots of secrets of the India. He got the medicine also, and he basically never got that information also that he had eaten the pani puri poison. He has eaten the poison in pani puri, and he was treated also. So you can just imagine the secretness of the India basically country, which kind of which type of countries basically. So you everything here basically happens peacefully. Peacefully in Hindi basically it is called Shanti se. So you can just imagine the if basically the God family person basically will know that the pani puri was poison pani puri was eaten by this person, and he basically had the pani puri poison pani puri also. Then you can just imagine the critical level that God family member has got the poison pani puri. Then you can just imagine due to that basically his teeth was going to break through that water. His teeth was going to break, so that teeth has not broken. Why? Because the medicine was already given to that person. So teeth was going to break, but it was not broken. So the teeth was saved, right? Because why? Because the power of money and the power of the God family. So like this basically there are many things basically which Indian department basically do the experiments. And like this, basically, USA is also telling that yeah, basically we are also earning good money from this. So you can just imagine the USA also up to what level the USA is earning the money, which type of money they are earning from the one software. Basically, you can't earn too much. You will earn one crore dollar. You will earn 2 crore dollar. Maximum you can earn 50, 100 crore maximum from one of the biggest software basically, from biggest software as in. But you can't earn this many money, yeah? For if you are having the hundreds of human clones, then you can how much money you are earning. So this human cloning has basically converted into business, and the poison basically in foods basically has also converted into the business, because as the money you are earning, from the way you are earning the money, that basically the you can say what to tell the word the way of basically the earning income. Basically if you are earning more money from this way, then that way basically gets plus only. The ways basically, that is 100% going to increase only, right? It's not going to decrease, right? Why? So the poison basically which in Indian foods basically are getting by the people, that basically 100% is going to increase only. That is not going to decrease. Why? Because this has converted into the business, and business means always basically it's going to profit, 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 more profit, more profit. That is basically business. So this is basically the one of the example which we have already discussed. But this example basically I have told, that basically I have not told directly. So this in this example basically I am telling this directly, that this type of thing basically might happen, and this might have happened also. This is basically if we are, if the normal person can think up to this level, then basically this the health department might have thought long before, basically long before that also USA health departments. Then basically you can just imagine up to what level basically the Indian health department might be thinking. So here basically the question is, this all basically which we have sent, which we have told now, that basically comes into the subscription plan. And subscription plan is basically sent long before, that is basically 1 or 2 months before only they sends the data to the government. Government means here it's a power company, energy company, and nuclear power plant. And each and every country basically have few 1 or 2 nuclear plant only, and the rest basically are just for public purpose. The main basically the nuclear plant, that never the name basically will never comes into the picture, and the address also might not be in the map also, because it's a secret, right? Entire country is getting oxygen from that nuclear power plant. So how basically this can be disclosed in the map? So this basically never get disclosed in the map basically. Why? Because it's a secret of the country. And if you will display this place in front of the world, that is basically in the map, then basically the whole world, and there are assume that there are many enemies of the India. Then basically what you will do? Then you can't secure the your nuclear plant so much basically. And basically nowadays there are many weapons that is basically hidden weapons, that is basically from energy. From energy lots of attacks happens. So up to what level you are going to secure your nuclear plant? So basically that's why basically nobody disclose their because there are 215 countries, and in 215 countries there are more than 4 to 5 lakh cities basically. Minimum basically I'm telling you, 4 to 5 lakh means there might be more than 10 to 15 lakh, but just taking as an example, minimum example basically. So there are many enemies of the India basically. So up to what level basically you are going to secure the nuclear plant? So that's why basically no country basically disclose their nuclear plant, where basically that exists, in which location in India basically that exists. That basically nobody will disclose. Why? Because it's a secret, right? If it's a secret, then basically this subscription example which I have told, the God family is going to take the oxygen, and that teeth medicine basically which was given already to that particular person, and that basically he never got that information also, that he had a poison in the pani puri, and he got got the medicine also from the from certain location, basically from certain road maps. Who has given basically nobody knows, because this is secret of the country basically. So you can just imagine the secretness of the country. And like this is the one example which I had told. Now he had eaten the poison pani puri, but he got the medicine also, and he never got that information also, that he had a pani puri, the poison pani puri. And the person told that if he again eats the pani puri from that location, then basically he will never eat, because that place where the pani puri was existing, that place basically the pani puri stall basically was cleared by the government. So you can just imagine the uh, government connection also in this world basic in this basically not world here we are talking about the India country. So in India country, how secretness are getting maintained, and nobody will basically never able to know also that he got the pani puri. So you can just but government is knowing. That's why basically the pani puri store was cleared. So you can just imagine the secretness of the government sector, and each and every government. Few people says that each and every country's governments are working with each other. Then basically he thought that what he has he want to say that each and every country's employees are swapping it. Their work, India's work is done by some other countries, and other countries' work are done by India country. So that basically shows that it's a union of the government, and up to what level the union of the government is, because it's a swapping work is ongoing. So you can just imagine nobody is knowing that this person of the government which is working in this PF department, in the income tax department, he's coming from which location. Nobody can track it. Why? Because it's a government secret mission, basically, you can say. Secret operation, also, you can say. Secret stuff, also, you can say. Um, secrets, basically, you can say. So nobody can able to track that from where this person is coming, where this person is going to go. So basically, it's a totally different thing. So here, basically, we are discussing about the subscription plan, which government is telling that we have already taken this subscription for this particular month, and like this, basically, the subscription plan is also getting modified also. And this medicine example, which we have already taken it, and subscription modification also happen, and that modification gets effect to the that main subscription plan also gets changed to the main subscription plan also. So you can just imagine the chain process also. And this all chain process is already done, basically, you can say. And this chain process is also going. And without chain process, uh, there is no utility which is going to work in this world. For example, one nuclear plant is working perfectly. Reason is there are few set of, for example, I will take one number. 125 countries are giving power supply to this nuclear power plant. That's why this nuclear power plant is working. So you can just imagine the 125 countries chain is connected with this nuclear power plant. So you can just imagine. And the main thing here is the power supply which they are getting. They are not getting from the wire or somewhere. They are getting from the energies, and you can't break the energy of the energy power, right? You can't break there are many secret uh, power supply roadmaps also, basically, in this world. For example, internet roadmap, basically. So internet roadmaps basically are hidden roadmaps that basically never sometime basically the company owner also does not know that from here the internet roadmaps is on. That is basically secret of the internet union, basically. So previously, basically, there was no like internet, right? Previously, it was a cable connection. From the cable connection, the internet data testing was happened, because whatever cable supply was ongoing, that through television you can able to view, right? So that view, basically, that was basically data only. Without data, basically, that's going to supply the view. No. So the testing was of internet was done long before when the cable supply was ongoing. And through internet, basically, previously, basically, television before cable, it was an antenna, right? So that time antenna also, basically, the internet testing was ongoing. So you can just imagine the internet testing was ongoing for before it launched, before the internet supply launched, before the internet 40 years before only the internet testing was ongoing, before the launching of, for example, in 1980, basically the internet came into picture. So from in 1940 the testing was ongoing of the internet data. And one example I will take it, the SAP company, basically, which is telling that we have created our softwares, Assume that they launched their software in 2004, but the preparation was assume that in 2000 they. So in 1950, they have started that construction department, that is basically the SAP construction department in 1950. So the SAP creation took 50 years. SAP software creation took 50 years. You can just imagine, because each and every software basically, for example, Microsoft software are connected directly with the city's creation. SAP construction, SAP software is directly connected with the city creations. Sorry, the country creation. So assume that a SAP software is created from around 35,000 cities. So 35,000 cities has been used to create just one SAP software. So 35,000 multiplied by 15 lakh crore has been already invested to create the SAP software. And few basically SAP things have basically they have taken in rent also. For example, the text box equal to 1,000 cities. What is text box equal to 1,000 cities? That for that I have already uploaded the video. So text box equal to 1,000 cities. So text box data basically text. What is text box? To display one text box in SAP, they have to pay the rent. Reason text box is created from the 1,000 cities. So you can just imagine that to display one text box in the SAP software, you have to pay crores of rent, because the text box is created from the thousands of cities. So they are going to 100% going to recover their money, because they have already created the 1,000 cities. Same way the combo box. Combo box is also created from the 1,000 cities. Checkbox is also created from the 1,000 cities. So here basically the number which I am telling it, it can be 1,000, it can be 2,000, it can be 3,000. So here basically we don't go with the number, because in real number basically nobody might be having, because it's also the secret of the software industry. And so SAP software company has taken around 35 to 30 to 35,000 cities creation. From 30 to 35,000 cities creation has generated the SAP software, and then also basically the text box, combo box, this all are basically taken as a rent. So you can just imagine the criticalness of the software industry basically, you can say. And the soft SAP is basically just one small part of the software industry, because the investment has done to this level, 35,000 cities investment, plus rent of the text box, rent of the combo box, rent of the check boxes, rent of the buttons, rent of the radio buttons. So you can just imagine the expenses done by the SAP's main software company. And then basically the SAP basically 100% is going to charge the software. So basically each and every expense which is done, that also need to be recovered. So that basically lots of stuffs are there basically in this software industry. And this all basically which I have told just now, the entire user stories, that basically is getting calculated in the subscription plan, because whatever physical things is created in this world, that basically 100% is converted into the oxygens also, and that oxygen is 100% going to taken by the human body also. So whatever user story just now I told, that is 100% created it from physical places, and that physical places is 100% going to convert it to the oxygen, has converted it to the oxygen, and that oxygen is already taken by the human bodies, and the blood cells is also created from that oxygens, and lots of disease also has generated from the bodies, and lots of medicines also prepared. So each and every R&D departments, each and every software energy department, each and every software groups department, each and every software architect department. That's why basically the software architecture basically, the name also basically says that it's a architecture. Why? Because each and every software is basically created from the physical place. First physical places are created, and then because SAP basically has just came in 2000, right? But the preparation of the SAP has started in 1950s of the construction department. So in India, basically, when basically software started, the started, I think, in 1990s, right? But the construction department basically has started the preparation of software in 1950s only. Before it might be, before independence, basically, you can say. So it's not as a it's not a easy process. It's a very lengthy process, you can say. That's why basically each and every track basically the government keeps. If the government changes, then basically it's more more tough basically because government. That's why basically the governments never changes. The Congress is basically ruling since more than 50 years. BJP is ruling more than 30 years. That's why basically the governments is never going to change. Why? Because the task, you just see the task basically, which type of task is. In 1950s, the SAP construction process was started, and then basically in 2000, the SAP software basically launched into the market, and then basically the software teaching started. Sorry, the SAP software teaching started. The SAP training started. Then the SAP software creation started, and then basically from the software, the human needs creation also started. So this basically each and every stuff basically it's not a 1 or 2 days process. So SAP creation process is started in 1950. So it's not that from day night basically the one software came into the market into the India, and then basically the software creation is started, and basically magically basically the SAP company given lots of investment to the India, and India basically day or night basically the USA started giving the offers to the Indian uh, students, Indian professional. It's not happening in 1 or 2 days because the construction department basically which they are preparing the construction in there basically the USA is also basically playing the important role. Why? Because USA know that there is no like tectonic plates. Why? There is no like tectonic plates that USA knows. The tectonic plates and the more than 1 lakh books are created of the tectonic plates that are just for in front of the public. But in real, basically, the building is standing that is standing on the base of certain energies, right? And this all basically is already done, which we are discussing just now. This is already done long before basically. So basically, if somebody says that basically we want to stop the SAP from the India, then basically there are crores of investment basically to create one city. Basically, it takes 15 lakh crore, and SAP has taken around 15,000 cities to create. So 100% the SAP is not going to close night in night basically, right? Because 15,000 cities has taken to create one SAP. So, do you think basically the SAP is going to close their investment in from India? It's not possible. Really. Practically, it's impossible because 15,000. If the India says that we can't allow SAP, then basically World War will start because it's a 15,000 city investment, and to create one city, it takes 15 lakh crore. So 15 lakh crore multiplied by 15,000. It's a huge amount. Why? Because here if city is getting created, then basically the government does not invest the money. Here the World Bank is basically investing the money. That's why basically even if any country says that this utility has to be stopped in this country, then basically it's not possible. Why? Because the World Bank is directly connected with this cities utilities. So here basically I have taken the example of SAP. So SAP creation has started in 1915, and the software creation started, software using started, software use basically started in 2000, and then basically the human needs creation started from the software. So you can just imagine the each and every stuff basically which is ongoing and which is already done. So it's not possible that software company is going to day night basically is going to stop, and it's going to close their investment, and government will say that government will say get out from India country. That will never going to happen. Otherwise, basically, world war will start basically. So basically, this will not happen 100%, because otherwise world war is 100% going to happen. And you can just imagine if this type of statement basically any political people says, then how many Indians basically are outside India? In America only, basically there are more than, I think, in crores of number basically. The Indian basically are doing the study plus professional job. In Europe basically it's more than a crore. In Ireland, in Italy, in UAE, in South Africa, in European country, in Gulf country. So basically, that is 100% going to affect. If anybody in government says that this has to be stopped, then basically 100% this is going to affect. And few people says that we can't trust government, so they basically directly jump to the India. So that type people are also there, right? Who basically says that we can't trust Indian government. So that type of people are also there. So here basically we are not discussing which type of governments are there, which type of people are there, which type of people governments are there, which type of human basically are existing in each and every country. So here we are not discussing that. Here basically we are discussing about the software industry, which is telling that in formula basically, in formula we are talking about the attributes, and in attributes basically hundreds of balance sheet are already created, and in hundreds of balance sheet, uh, in each attribute there are hundreds of balance sheet, and to create one SAP software only, it has taken 35,000 cities creation. So this is basically the 179th part. In 180, basically we are going to discuss a little bit more about the formula part.